World peace is an idea of the planet that we're in that has no violence. And nations are supposed to cooperate with each other and to work so that is to prevent warfare. Yes. And this term sometimes used to refer to a cessation of all hostility among all humanity. But within that, even we try, but within that, there is still some conflict somewhere. Human rights, animal rights, technology, education, engineering, medicine, all these, it could become somehow conflicting. But world peace is trying to end this so-called fighting. But as we observe what's going on right now, is that there are still a lot of violence, conflict, and instability, disruptions. And also with the world and with the other things, it also affects the economic side. And for some people, this word peace or this word world peace, they have a different idea about the so-called world peace. And certain people looking for or try very hard to make the world better. And this word, world peace, when they mention, people will just laugh. Because they think that it is just an ideal thing. And it is very difficult to really accomplish. Of course, we know nowadays in the world, many people putting the effort, not only with the government, but also corporate, and then individuals, companies. They work for the betterment of human beings. Say, for example, we have a devotee, and she's in Mexico. She put a lot of work into helping the poor in a rural country in Mexico. So she started out with some kind of vocation, education, training system for carpenter, electrician, construction workers, things like that. And people that cannot go to school, they cannot afford to go to school. And then somehow her system is that to train them so that they go to the school and they receive some kind of certificate. So later on, they could work, they could find their job. But of course, along the way, she has a lot of struggles financially and other things. She has to put a lot of money into it. And we see that, yeah, not only her is doing it, but around many other people also give the helping hands. But at the same time, there are still a lot of struggling. War is going on. Fighting, corruption is also going on. Destroying the environment, wasting all kinds of resources that we have. And it's still going on. And what is it that's going on there? Something that's missing, or something that we don't understand. And this comes to a thing that maybe we can tell one thing, that we are suffering. Suffering not only because of the natural disasters, but suffering because of the instability of the society that's going on, of the world, of the people's belief. It's going on. Contradiction. And how do you find peace? So what is it that the teaching of the Buddha is telling us? Because when we learn about Buddhism and we read some teachings there, in the Vimalakirti Sutra, it says something like this. If our mind is pure, if our mind is at peace, the world is at peace. The world is a pure land. Now, when we hear this, if we never learn about Buddhism, we'll be skeptical about this. Is there just an ideal thing that there are people saying? Or if it is possible, now if we have some practice, meditation, set our mind, and when we go to a retreat for a longer time, 3 days, 7 days, our mind is really at peace, very stable, and very calm. Then whatever we see, the world out there, the things, the people that we met, sometimes we feel like they're so lovely. Yes, that's true. And even, like trees, flowers, planets, and we see them, they feel like, wow, so joyful. It's possible through this. And of course, from the teaching of the Buddha, then there are guidance step by step that could lead us to the so-called the peace within ourselves. Now, the feeling of that peaceful clarity of the mind, after a few days of practice, may just last, very short, maybe a few hours, maybe a few days. Some people last for 1 week, a month, something like that. But then we return to our daily situations. And we remember that somehow we like to get back on track again for the practice. But that only shows that whatever that we have itself is also temporary. But all about these things that we talk about practice, not only that the teaching from the Buddha that will tell us how do you practice, but also the concept behind this teaching. And what we often heard about in the Buddhist view is the so-called impermanence. This word for Buddhists is quite familiar, but not so much in our society, that Buddhism is new to us. One day we have a few contractors that came and do work for us. And we were talking, and we said something about impermanence. And the contractor did not understand what is impermanence. For us, we are so used to it, and to a point where we feel like it's boring, nothing new. But actually, for them, they didn't even understand what is impermanence. Changing, things changes. We often use, I changed my mind. That's often. And impermanence apply to all the phenomena of the world that we could think of. It is the so-called conditioned Dharma. Now, I would like to share with you about the sutra, and this sutra is called Sutra of Complete Enlightenment. And a little bit unique about it is that 12 great Bodhisattva was asking the Buddha questions one by one. And in there, not only the Buddha answered about the step-by-step practice, but also he talked about the concept behind. And the concept is starting from the highest one or deepest one. Started with Bodhisattva Manjusri, which is a great Bodhisattva, referring to someone with great wisdom. It goes like this. Because the sutra is very long. But each time when the Buddha answer the questions, and then at the end he make into a gatha, so to make it short so that it's easier to remember. So I would just extract that gatha at the end, not the whole thing. It goes like this. Manjusri, you should know that all Tathagatas, from their original arising causal ground, use wisdom to enlighten and penetrate ignorance, realizing that ignorance is like a flower in the sky. Flower in the sky. They are thus liberated from the continuum of birth and death. Like a person in a dream who cannot be found when awakens. So one analogy is a flower in the sky. Another analogy is a person in dream. When you wake up, then you cannot find that person. So like a person in a dream who cannot be found when awakened. Awareness is like empty space. It is impartial and equal and ever unmoving. When enlightenment pervades all 10 directions, the Buddha path is accomplished. There's no place where illusion vanish. Now, very important. There's no place where illusion vanish. And there's no attainment in accomplishing the Buddha path. See? Illusion is not vanished. And then no attainment for Buddha path. For the intrinsic nature is already wholly complete. By this, Bodhisattva can give rise to the Bodhi mind. Sentient beings in the Dharma ending age, through this practice, will avoid erroneous views. Now, this is completely talking about the view of what is it that we understand or we think about the so-called Buddha nature, the so-called accomplishment of the Buddha path. It's right away from the first one telling us that nothing vanished, which is referring to our vexations. But also the Buddhahood, nothing is accomplished. This is quite deep. And the analogy is that seeing flowers in the sky. When do you see flowers in the sky? When our eye is not working. And then, of course, it's very, very realistic in a sense that talking about this dream that we have. After we wake up, we know that's the dream. It's gone, right? So, right here the first one, I think, is the highest one that one could reach right there without doing much, as long as you could really do it. But because it's the highest, it's the most difficult one. Understanding is one thing, or knowing it is one thing, but are we there? We know for sure that we're not there. So that is why it leads to another Bodhisattva that came and asked the Buddha the second question, and that is Samattabhadra Bodhisattva. And now the Buddha answered, Samattabhadra, you should know that the beginningless illusory ignorance of all sentient beings is grounded on the Tathagata's mind of complete enlightenment. All right. This again is affirming this so-called illusory ignorance from time without beginning, or sometimes people will say time without memory, or here we use beginningless time. Now again, like a flower in empty space, its appearance relies on the sky, because the sky, so we see the flowers on the sky. When the illusory flower vanishes, the empty space remains in its original unmoving state. Illusion depends on enlightenment for its arising. With the extinction of illusion, enlightenment is wholly perfect. For the enlightened mind is ever unmoving. All bodhisattvas and sentient beings in the Dharma ending age should forever leave illusion far behind until all illusions are extinguished. It is like producing fire with wood. Now, another analogy. When we make fire from the wood, when the wood is burned out, the fire is also extinguished. Another one, enlightenment has no gradual steps. Very important here. The same applies to the expedient means. Now you can see again, using the analogy of the flower in the empty space. When illusory flower is gone, the empty space stays. It's there, it's unmoving. It's just there. And again, understand that our illusory ignorance, it's just like it's grounded in the mind. It's grounded on the Tathagata, which is the Buddha's mind of complete enlightenment. It's there already. So if one understand, or if one realize there is enlightenment, has no gradual steps. This refers to what? We talk about in the teaching, we talk about enlightenment. And it's always talk about the so-called sudden enlightenment. When you enlighten, you just enlighten right there. But practice is gradual. We go step by step with practice. But when it comes to enlightenment, boom, it's right there. I think all the teaching from Chan actually talk about this sudden enlightenment. Therefore, over here, enlightenment has no gradual steps. And then this is the Samatha Bhadra Bodhisattvas questioning. And then now come the Bodhisattva universal vision. Come and ask question again. Of course, if you want to know what question did this Bodhisattva raise, we need to go to the book, the Sutra of Complete Enlightenment. And it's quite interesting. And the Buddha replied to universal vision Bodhisattva. He said that you should know that the minds and bodies of all sentient beings are illusory. Now, see, mind and body are all illusory. Well, why? The body is the union of four elements. What are they? Earth, water, wind,
Fire.
and fire. Right, four elements, right? The body. But we all have that. And if you don't want to go detail, then what is earth and what is water? Water is the liquid that flow in the body. The flame, the teardrop, the sweat. That is the water. And earth referring to what? A bone, right? A meat thing that is out there. And fire referring to the heat. And the wind referring to the flowing of these things. So the body is just like the union of the four elements. And the nature of mind is reducible to 6 sensory objects. And what are they? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. And then continue on, the Buddha said, when the 4 elements are separated from one another, who is the unifier? Who is it? What happened to that person? So when one practices gradual cultivation like this, all will be pure. The nature of complete enlightenment is unmoving and pervades the Dharmadhatu. There is no contrivance, stopping, allowing things to be as they are, annihilation, nor is there one who actualizes. See, again, there's no person who actualizes enlightenment. Very important, because this is the concept that we think that I am enlightened, then that person is not enlightened. So let me see. So all Buddha worlds are like flowers in the sky. All Buddha worlds, past, present, and future, are impartially equal. Ultimately, there is no coming or going. Very interesting here about this teaching. No coming, no going. The newly initiated Bodhisattva and sentient beings in the Dharma ending age, in their quest to enter the Buddha path, should thus cultivate themselves, right? So this is the Bodhisattva answer to the question of, the Buddha answer to the question of Bodhisattva universal vision. Again and again, it mentioned that no Buddha land, no coming and no going. Why is it so? Well, the so-called whatever that one is enlightened to, then one realizes that there's no going, there's not no coming. Like the name of the Buddha, one of the names of the Buddha is the so-called Tathagata. The Tathagata means as if coming, as if going. So this already transcends the so-called, the concept that we have about duality, right and wrong, always in opposition. This is already transcend that. Therefore, you can always say that there's no coming, no going. So no Buddha land. And the Buddha world is just like, again, the flower in the sky. And that again is repeated, because this is just very, very core teaching. And if we could do that, then practitioner is a Bodhisattva. It's a newly initiated Bodhisattva in that. And you should have this with us. All right. So this is number 3. And number 4. Vajragarbha. Vajragarbha Bodhisattva. Now the Buddha again utter his wisdom by answering Bodhisattva, Vajragarbha. You should know that the quiescent and extinct nature of Tathagata never had a beginning or end. No beginning, no end, right? And then previously we mentioned about beginningless time, right? Here again, it repeats that. Now, if there's a beginning, if there's an end, then it is again in the world of duality. And it's in the world of opposition. But now when it says no beginning, no end, it transcends that. Right? So never had a beginning or end. To conceptualize this with the cyclic mind results in rotation in cyclic existence. That is to say, if we don't understand this idea and we just use our natural, the way our ordinary people, then again and again, we will be in the cycle of samsara, unable to enter the ocean of the Buddha. Like smelting gold ore. The gold does not exist as the result of smelting. Because of what? Gold is already there. It just mixed with other earth and with other elements. So it regains the original golden quality. It is perfected only after the process of smelting. Once it becomes true gold, it cannot become ore again. Now, this analogy is very interesting. It refers to what? Sometimes people would ask, what is it that is enlightenment? And then Master Ji-Cheng would say that it is likened to making a teapot from clay, right? From earth. And then once you make it into the model of a teapot, and then you will put it into the oven and then heat it up for over 1,000 degrees and become either ceramic or become clay. The material cannot return to the earth again. The mud or the earth that we've taken, it will not change back to. So that refers to what? Once it is enlightenment. Now it has to be real, genuine enlightenment. Then one will not return to the ordinary people. Right. So here, using the analogy of the gold from the ore, gold ore and smelting process, just make it pure gold. True gold or pure gold, it will just like that. It will not return to the ore anymore. You go to the museum, and then there are some artifacts, antiques, that if it is pure gold, 100% or 99%, for 1,000 years, it will still be like that. It's very bright, very yellow. It will not fade even in color. It's very interesting about this quality of gold. But if it is mixed with some other things, then after certain years, it will change the color. Very interesting. Okay. So birth and death and nirvana, ordinary peoples and all Buddhas are but appearance of flowers in the sky. Again, using the analogy of flower in the sky. Conceptualization are illusory projections. How much more so are such questions asked with an illusory mind? We're using illusory mind to really understand it. I just couldn't get it. If one can put an end to this illusory mind, complete enlightenment can be sought. All right. So over here, you may think, if I don't use my origin illusory mind, what do I use? Well, actually, it's possible. If not possible, then it's useless to say, right? It is, of course, it's possible for us to come to realization, but the emphasis here is that we don't use your thinking to think about this state. You just realize it. That's it. Okay. So now we go to another one, the Bodhisattva Maitreya. Again, the Buddha replied, Maitreya, you should know that sentient beings cannot attain great liberation because of what? Because of their craving and desire, which cause them to fall into the cycle of birth and death. If they can sever like and dislike, along with greed, anger, and delusion, regardless of their difference in nature, they will all accomplish the Buddha path. The two obstructions will also be permanently severed. The two obstructions here referring to obstruction of principles, and which hinders the right views. The second is the obstruction of phenomena. We thought all the phenomena are real. So after correct awakening is attained by meeting a good teacher, one accords with the Bodhisattva vow and abides in the great nirvana. All Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions, relying on the great compassionate vow, manifest the appearance of entering birth, of death. Practitioners now and sentient beings in the Dharma ending age should diligently sever all attached views. Then they will return to the great complete enlightenment. See, gradually this part, number 5, somehow we understand. Easier to understand because of what? Because we know what craving are, what desires are, and what is so-called like and dislike. It's very easy, and every day we encounter this greed, anger, and delusion. So this is more, somehow we understood easier, right? And with the correct view, and if you have a chance to meet a good teacher and work accord with the Bodhisattva vows, which is to give right to Bodhisattva vow, to be of help to all sentient beings. Then, yes, then because of this great compassionate vow, then it is possible for us that we would end the cycle of birth and death. And we will return to the great compassionate, the great complete enlightenment. So this is the Bodhisattva, this is Maitreya. Now come the Bodhisattva, pure wisdom. The Buddha answered again, pure wisdom, you should know that the nature of perfect Bodhi is without attainment or actualization. Again and again, it is confirmed through the words of the Buddha. We think that the perfect Bodhi, nothing to attain, nothing to actualize. It is without Bodhisattva or sentient beings. However, when there is enlightenment and unenlightenment, there are distinct progressive stages. Sentient beings are obstructed by understanding. Bodhisattvas before the first bhumi have not left behind realization. Once they enter the first bhumi, first bhumi is first ground of the path of the Bodhisattva. There is permanent creation extinction with no abidance in any form. Great enlightenment being complete is called pervasive accordance. If sentient beings in the Dharma ending age do not give rise to the deluded thoughts, the Buddha says that they are Bodhisattva in this very lifetime, having made offering to countless Buddhas as innumerable as the sands of the Ganges. Their merits are perfected, though experience are many, all are called in accordance with wisdom. Now here, first of all, it's the repeating of the so-called nature of perfect Bodhi is without attainment or actualization. But when practicing, either by a gradual approach or the sudden approach, one realizes that there's although there is the so-called creation extinction, but with no abidance in any form, which is to say no attachment in any form. Since right from the beginning, that's without attainment or actualization. If we could do that, then we are in accord with the teaching of all the Buddhas. So that is number 6. Now, number 7 is Bodhisattva majestic virtue. The Buddha said, majestic virtue, you should know that the unsurpassable mind of great enlightenment is intrinsically non-dual. Again here, non-dual. We are in the world of duality. Everything is with some opposite. That's why we see the world with suffering. Even though the various experiences that accord with it are limitless in number. The teachings of the Tathagata are altogether 3 in kind. 3 kinds. Creation and still in samatha. The mind is like a mirror, reflecting myriad images. First of all, samatha, that is mentioned about the 3 kinds. The mind is like a mirror reflecting myriad images, samapati, wherein all is seen as an illusion. It's like a bud growing gradually. The jhana is creation extinction, yet its function are like the sound of a musical instrument. These 3 wondrous Dharma methods are all in accordance with the enlightenment. The Tathagata in all 10 directions and the great Bodhisattvas achieve Buddhahood through them. Perfect actualization of these 3 is called ultimate nirvana. Now we come to this majestic virtue, Bodhisattva, where the Buddha answered about how to practice using either samatha, samapati, or dhyana, which is cessation or stopping samatha, and then enter into deeper meditation. Either is from the dhyana or into different stages of samadhi. So these three things: samatha, samapati, and dhyana. Right. So step by step, now is the practice of samadhi, and that will lead to the great enlightenment. Now we come to number 8, Bodhisattva sound discernment. So the Buddha answered again, sound discernment, you should know that the unhindered pure wisdom of all bodhisattvas arises from samadhi. The so-called samatha, samapati, and dhyana. The gradual or sudden practice of this threefold Dharma has 25 variations. Okay, now we may have something in mind. What are the 25 variations there? It's more complicated if I say, because of this samatha, samapati, and dhyana. Some will practice dhyana first, and they go to samapati, and then go to samatha. And some will practice samatha first, and go to samapati, and they'll go to dhyana. Some will practice samapati first, and then samatha, and then dhyana. So it all mixed with these three, and with different approach, they become 25 variations. When I look at it, I get confused because I could not remember what is go first and what is second, and what is that attitude. You have to repeat, like repeat as reciting the sutta again and again to remember all the 25 kinds. So it just said here, because in the sutta itself, it said, with all combinations. So the 25 variations, all Tathagatas in the 10 direction, and the practitioners in the past, present, and future achieve Bodhi through this Dharma, with the only exception being those of sudden enlightenment and those who do not follow the Dharma. Interesting here that those who have sudden enlightenment, then they don't need to go through this practice of the samathas, samapati, and the dhyana. It's just referred to Chan. All bodhisattvas and sentient beings in the Dharma ending age should ever practice diligently in accordance with these methods, relying on the Buddha's power of great compassion. They will before long attain nirvana. Okay, so this is number 8. We are coming to number 9. Bodhisattva cleansed of all karmic obstructions. So again, the Buddha answered, cleanse of all karmic obstruction. You should know that sentient beings, because of their attachment to and love to self here, S-E-L-F, have been bound in the illusory turning flow which is the cyclic existence. Since beginningless time, without severing the four signs of the self, Bodhi will not be attained. What is the four signs of the self? Do you have any idea? It's referring to the self, the person, sentient beings, and life, referring lifespan. Referring the four sides of the self. We are very much attached to that. Once we are hurt, we are really, really angry, we are sad, we are really hurt because someone hurt us, someone say something to us, someone looked down on us. It's just all of this us, this me right there. And we are in that cycle of birth and death again and again, repeating it. Therefore, Bodhi will not be attained. With the mind harboring love and hatred, and thoughts carrying flattery and crookedness, one is full of confusion and perplexity and cannot enter the citadel of enlightenment. Is it called citadel? Is that right? C-I-T-A-D-E-L?
Citadel.
Citadel? Okay, thank you. Citadel of enlightenment. To return to the realm of enlightenment, desire, anger, and delusion must first be eliminated. Which attachment to the Dharma of nirvana no longer exists in the mind, one can gradually reach accomplishment. This body is originally non-existent. So how can love and hatred arise? A practitioner should also seek a good teacher so as not to fall into erroneous views. If hatred and love arise in the quest, he will not accomplish enlightenment. Now, this one here, again, with the teaching here, it's close to us, you could say, or easy to understand, because we all have this desire, anger, and delusion. We all have hold on to this self very, very dearly. Although we suffer, but we still didn't know that. The teaching right here is the body is originally non-existent. How can love and hatred arise? Well, we have those things. That is, again, the practice. If we realize that we have this, vexations or affliction right there, we could control ourselves so that it will not develop. So we don't suffer that much, right? And gradually, we could have control over ourselves of not to let it manifest and not to let it overwhelm ourselves. And again, this could be practice. And then we come to number 10, Bodhisattva. Universal enlightenment. You should know that sentient beings in the Dharma ending age who wish to seek a good teacher should find one with correct views, whose mind is far away from the two vehicles, referring to the small vehicle, the sound hearer, the Saraka vehicle. All right. The Dharma he actualized should be free from the four faults of what? Contrivance, stopping, allowing things to be as they are, and annihilation. So this is the four. Approached by the teacher, they should not be arrogant and proud. If the teacher thinking that, oh, the student has a good nature, is a good potential, and the teacher approach him, then they should not be arrogant and proud. Left by the teacher, if the teacher left them, they should not be resentful. So this is the attitude of finding ourselves to the teacher, as well as how to find a good teacher with the correct view. When witnessing different conditions displayed by teacher, they should regard them as precious, rare occurrences, like a Buddha appearing in the world. They should break not the rules of discipline and demeanor, and keep the precept forever pure. Lead all sentient beings into the ultimate complete enlightenment. Be free from the signs of the self, person, sentient being, and life. When relying on correct wisdom, they will transcend erroneous views, actualize enlightenment, and enter parinirvana. Okay, so here, having the right view and having a right view for the teacher, one, not only that one has the right view, but also one has to practice pure precept. Well, the precept will help us to purify our body and mind very much. And if our body and mind are purified, when we practice, it will be smoother. So that is important. And then number 11, the Bodhisattva of complete enlightenment. So the Buddha said, complete enlightenment. You should know that all sentient beings seeking to tread on the unsurpassed path should first enter a retreat. A retreat that we're in now. They should repent their beginningless karmic obstruction for 21 days. Now we only 3 days. And then engage in right contemplation. Experiences that they have not heard from the Tathagata should not be accepted as authentic. In samatha, one practices perfect stillness. In samadhi, one upholds right mindfulness. In dhyana, one begins with clear counting, referring to what? The breath, counting the breath. These are the three pure contemplation. Those who practice them with diligence are called Buddhas appearing in this world, referring to the future Buddha. Those with dull capacity who are not accomplished should repent zealously of all misdeeds they have created since beginningless time. When all obstructions are extinguished, the realm of Buddhahood appears. Okay, so the Bodhisattva of complete enlightenment, you see that the more and more question and answer, then it comes to the beginning of the practice. We have to do repentance, and then gradually we practice samadhi, samatha, and dhyana. So first of all, it's the repentance and the practice, and move on until the first one of the Manjushri Bodhisattvas. And then the last one is Bodhisattva, foremost in virtue and goodness. Now, it is not so much about questioning, but still, yeah. It's the teaching. It's like praising, but also have some questions. But somehow this form here, the Buddha did not make it into like a Gatha's form. And it's just like you should practice, you should recite the sutra, and then going on to do prostration and things like that. And then praise the Buddha by respecting and do prostration because of the feeling grateful for the Buddha's teaching. And that's it for the very briefly talking about this sutra of complete enlightenment. And if you're interested, you could search for it and you find it. It's quite interesting. Okay. We still have some minutes. Maybe if you have questions.